What is going on, everybody? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing today? Welcome to the Working People's Podcast with James Hollingsworth is your host today. This is the place where everybody desires to build generational wealth and a financial legacy for their families. And today I need to talk to you. But before I get into it, I want to give just a shout out. Well, first, back up, rewind a little bit. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the Working People's Podcast channel, press that thumbs up like button, and also drop us some comments below. And most of all, ring that notification bell, ding, 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 ding. And if you're watching on Facebook here, on the Working People's Podcast Facebook page, go ahead and do the same. Press that thumbs up like button, show some hearts, drop some comments below, share this video watching here on my personal Facebook page, share the video with your friends, family, them, and press that thumbs up like button, show us some hearts, baby, some hearts, man, and also share the video. I said that already, but also drop some comments in the comment section, because today I need to talk about something. And I got inspired, motivated. My sister, Deja, as she often does, she'll say something. And today she was kind of overheard a conversation. So I need to talk about shoebox and mattress money. But shout out to Second Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, streaming live right here on Facebook to their Facebook page. Shout out to Rodney Williams and the ship. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna come swing through there, see if anybody's dropped any comments. But share the video, press that heart button over there. Shout out to Rodney Williams and Second Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, the ship. And also, I haven't done this in a while, but a special shout out to, I hope you can see this, but shout out to R.L. Morris and Sons Pipeline, professional pipeline service, established in 1972. This is their 50th year. Oh, you can't see that. It's a light. You can't see it. But on the back, it has in yellow their 50th anniversary. So R.L. Morris and Sons Professional Pipeline Services, established in 1972, is celebrating their 50th year anniversary this year. And last but definitely not least, we want to remember all of those who were victims and died on September 11, 2001, because today, I believe, is the 21st anniversary of September 11th, and we definitely remember all of those who tragically lost their lives in those events, those horrific events that happened that day. So if you're coming through here today, we need to have a conversation, and I need to show you some numbers, because this is 2022, and yet we still have people that's putting money in a mattress and sticking money in a shoebox and burying money in their backyard. Now, I do personally know some people. We don't see any names over here, but I do personally know some people that they have a stash, right? They have a secret stash, an emergency stash, right? I know people that have buried it. I know people that have put it in a safe. I know people that have hid it in their walls of their home. I know people that have hid it in other places. I know people that have it stashed away at somebody else's house, hidden away. But in these cases of those people that I'm referring to with that, right, that outside of this conversation we're going to have right now, those people got money invested. They got money invested. Some of them have pensions waiting for them when they get ready to retire, but they're not, those people that I'm talking to or referring to, they're not hurting for money. But quite often, as it relates to this conversation, shoebox and mattress money, there are too many people that don't have any savings, really. They don't have any investments. They don't have really any emergency money. They don't have a bank account. And we're going to talk about that too. They don't have a bank account. They basically get a check. They take it to either the liquor store or somewhere. They take it to, the corner party store. They even might take it to the bank upon which it was issued from the person, their employer, or whoever issued the check to them. And so quite often they will cash a check if that check was written on an account with their bank establishment. And they cash the money, they spend it, they pay bills, but they just basically everything's in cash. And then they'll take a little stash of it and they will stick it in a doggone shoebox. Or they'll bury it, or they'll put it in a mattress. Recently, a friend of mine told me about this guy who was hiding money. They cut a little slit in the mattress, right? And was hiding money in the mattress. That's old school stuff, right? I mean, I'm sure many of you have heard of people, some of the old folk that have done that, right? Hiding money in them old snuff cans. Y'all don't know about them snuff cans. What used to be the Folgers coffee can, the big old Folgers coffee can that after they used all the coffee, then they would either use them for snuff, chewing tobacco, or they would have some and they would stick them up in their, up in the cabinets up there with their food and all their, grocery supplies, and they'd be empty, but they'd have money in them and coins and stuff like that. Folks, this is 2022, and I'm just trying to help you. Look, you're not going to be able, and maybe you're not concerned about inflation, and maybe you really think that if you save $100,000 and it takes you 20 years to do it by just nickeling and diming and tiddlywinking your money, that perhaps that will, you'll be set, I'm in 20 years, I'm going to have $100,000. Well, there is something that's called inflation. And if you're not concerned about it, that and taxes are two of your formidable foes, your worst enemies when it comes to your future dollars and your future money. They are your enemy. They don't like you. They think your breath stink. They don't like anything about you. Inflation and taxes. They are your enemy. So, if you are not investing your money, and once again, I've said it here on the Working People's Podcast platform, I don't believe in throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, so if you one of the people that believe in gold, right? And that's your thing, and you don't like the government, and you think the government's trying to steal every dime of yours, I get it. Do your gold, stay away from the stock market, don't trust your employer, don't invest in your 401k, that's on you. But I don't believe in throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I believe in being diversified and tapping into whatever resources and whatever opportunities that you have to make your money grow for you and set yourself up for financial stability in the future. So if you just a person and you just the real estate, that's you. I believe in the real estate. Stay away from 401ks. Stay away from okay, great. But invest your money, right? If you work for an employer and they're offering you a match and you don't want to take advantage of that match because you don't trust nobody, you don't trust them, you don't trust 401ks, you think that they're trash, garbage, this, that, and the third, great. Leave that free money on the table and put your money in something. At least invest your money. It makes me want to pull out my hair. It literally makes me want to scream. And I'm going to, because I am a black, African-American black man, it makes me, I'm baffled that this is 2022, oh Lord. And you still have people going to the party store to cash checks or getting their money put on a prepaid card that's charging you all type of fees just to get your money, receive it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And now, because even my generation, we wasn't necessarily taught this in school, but now you got the newer generation now. Some of them ain't even seen a check. They don't have a clue what a check probably even looks like. Because now everything's, electronic. And I'm an electronic person when it comes to getting money to that spot and putting it over here. I mean, the app on my phone to deposit checks if you get one. I'm all for that. Zelle and, Cash App, PayPal. I'm in, baby. I'm in. You feel me? But to not even know what a check looks like, in terms of writing one that is issued from your bank, from your account tonight. Even though I don't write a lot of them nowadays, I still have checks. Black folk, what are we doing? What are we doing? Somebody help me out. If you explain this to me. This is 2022. And the only way that you have to transact business from a financial standpoint is swiping at whatever these call these cards, or going to a party store and just holding up cash on you. And then when you actually need cash, you go to your shoebox and get it. Holy cow. All right, let's look at it. Let's say, ergo, that your goal is to put $100,000 in your shoebox, and you figure, it might take you 20 years to do it. Okay, let's say it take you 20 years. $100,000, you're going to save it. Every time you're going to put some money in your shoebox or in the slit in your mattress. And it's going to take you 20 years to do it. Let's look at it. Here you go. Present value calculator. So let's take your $100,000 20 years from now and pull it from the future and pull it back through the past into our present day, right? What is $100,000 going to be? Is it really truly worth if you are going to take 20 years to save it? It is equivalent to, let's take it the future value, $100,000. Did I put enough zeros? Yes, I did. And I'm going to run at 3.6% inflation. And we're going to go 20 years. We're going to compound the interval of that inflation number annually, and let's calculate the present value of that. That $100,000 20 years from now presently is worth $49,295.23. Do you even have that amount of money right now to start with to add to the $100,000 that you want to accumulate over the next 20 years? Because basically this is showing us that as you save this money and you're not investing it, inflation is eating away at it. So let's look at it for what it is in an inverted way, that really that $100,000 20 years from now is going to be worth somewhere around less than $50,000, if not even less than that. Because you're not investing it. Ergo, however, if you do the same scenario, right? Let's make this a little bigger. And let's say that you are going to just start with $200 a month. Initial investment, zero, right? Well, $200. You're going to add $200 to that every month, but you're going to invest it, right? 20 years. I haven't checked these numbers yet. I'm just doing this off the cuff, right? The estimated interest rate that you're going to earn, we're going to go 9.5, 9.5%. We're not going to do a variance. We're going to compound it out annually. Do you see that? In 20 years, that will be worth $131,000 $131,121.68, right? Because you're investing it. So if you save the $200 on your own and earn no interest, zero, for 20 years. Oh, it's an error. I got to put at least some kind of interest rate in there. Let's go 0.001. Let's do 1%. 1%. At least I got to tell it something, right? $53,000, 1%. So 20 years from now, if you take $200, right, every month and invest it, what's the math? I know that's over, what, 70? That's like $90,000 difference, somewhere like that. So I'm just saying, look, I hope I'm convincing you. Invest your money. Don't just stick it in a mattress. Don't just stick it in a shoebox. Invest your money. Because the only way you're going to be able to stay ahead of inflation is if you invest it. If you don't invest it, I'm telling you, you'll never get there. You need to be able to out-earn inflation. And if inflation runs us at, say, 3.6%, 2.6%, whatever it runs us at over the next 20 years, you need to be able to outpace that through investing your money. So that, let's take that 100 and what it was. Let's go back to that. And let's show you. We're going to run a present discounted value on this here. 131,000. Let's see, copy that. Let's go back over here, present discounted value. Oh, sorry. Reset. So let's say in the future, 20 years from now, you invested your money, right? And you earn 9.5% on it. And you came out with $131,121.68. We're going to run inflation like we did before. We'd run it at 3.6%. That's still relatively high, but we run it at 3.6%. And 20 years, right? Let's just say 20 years. Calculated present discounted value, $64,636.73. So extracting that money from the future, bringing it back into present day, is still worth, what, 49, 59, 69, almost $20,000 more than the other scenario that we ran on the $100,000, right? So I hope I'm not confusing you, but what I'm trying to show you in a roundabout way is, if you don't invest your money and you're just saving it and not earning interest on it, number one, it's going to take you longer to even get to any type of relevant goal financially. Number two, that money is not going to be worth really much as you think it is, because inflation is eroding those dollars over time as you save it and you're not earning interest on it. So it's not going to be worth what you think it is in the future. However, if you invest those dollars and you outpace inflation, even if you outpace it by 5 to 6%, that means that the money that you will have will be worth more, right? It will be worth more because you actually was able to stay ahead of inflation. So you'll be able to keep up with the cost of living at that time in the future. Because as cost of living goes up, that in itself causes your dollars not to be worth the value that you think it's worth based on just the numerical, the amount that you see. So I hope you're getting to understand what I'm saying. Invest your money, save your money. Don't just stick your money in a shoebox or a mattress, right? Don't do that. That is literally financial suicide. I don't even know if I could say that word and not get canceled on here, because that's one of those, I think that's one of those banned words or whatever. It is financial, how can I reword this? It is literally financially detrimental to your financial future if you don't invest your money. I'm just trying to convince you, and I'm just trying to hope you. The best thing to do, thank you, Brother Alkis. The best thing to do, and I've shared it before, is, and I don't have a slideshow up on it. I could go find one, but I'm just going to give them to you. Is if you're unfamiliar with individual stocks, right, and you don't really know how to assess a company's value and look at all the beta and all these numbers, right, stick with blue chip stocks, large companies that are like the top 1, 2, 3, even 5. Top 5 companies in their industry. Companies that within your heart of hearts, you believe that 20 years from now, 30 years from now, they'll still be around, right? So large capitalization, industry leading companies that are considered blue chip companies. And it's even better if they are dividend paying companies, because that means that they're sharing the profit of what they're making, right? They're on their earnings, and they're sharing it with their shareholders, and reinvest those dividends over that 20 to 30 year period. So you could literally be not even the smartest person. Just find a company that are large capitalization companies, blue chip companies, industry leading companies that you feel in your heart of hearts are going to be around 20, 30 years from now, and start DCA, dollar cost averaging, into those specific stocks. Get you an online account, right, where you can put your money in it, and you can monthly invest, right, every month, just, or weekly, whatever you want to do, and just go ahead and put it in there and do that for 20 years. If you don't want to get into individual stocks, get into large cap growth stocks, growth mutual funds. You can do ETFs, or you can do mutual funds. Go ahead and get the prospectus from the company. Look at what their 10-year history has been. Look at who the fund manager is. Those are some basic things. Is it somebody who's been the fund manager on that particular fund for the last 20 years or however long? You can pick a newer person if you want to. It's all on you. But if you can see the historical earnings on that particular mutual fund, and if you see where they've had good returns over the last 10, 15, 20 years, right, that's not indicative of what it's going to do in the next 10, 15, 20 years, right? But you're just using this as analysis. And you look at that mutual fund and you begin to assess, right, if it's something that you feel comfortable with. You can look at the load or the 12B1 fees to see what the cost of having that mutual fund is annually. Right. And they will give you a chart in there to show you that based on the amount that you're investing, $1,000 or however much you have on $10,000, what that cost of it will be to you. Right. So if you want to stay, with mutual funds that are not, they don't have higher fees, management fees, right? You can find some that don't have higher management fees if you want to. It's up on you. I don't mind 12B1 fees and stuff like that. And then you just dollar cost average for the next 20 years, reinvest the dividends once again, the next 20, 30 years, and you just do that, right? Then, like I say, you can get into other things to be diversified. You want to get into real estate? Great. Continue to watch the podcasts and shows and look at other people and do research, right? And if you want to get into gold and other types of commodities and different things like that, energy stocks, oil, whatever the case may be. You can do all of that, but the key is diversification. Diversify. Now, another thing you can do, if you don't want to do those, you can also get into treasury bonds and state issued government bonds and stuff like that. Granted, they're going to be quite a bit slower, but quite often, just like with gold, when the economy is struggling or limping along and there are corrections in the market, those things tend to begin to grow, whereas the market is stumbling, maybe experiencing a correction at that time. So just know that those things will be slow and you got to be in them for a long time, but they are, in my opinion, a great way to diversify and have as a foundational thing to help to stabilize your more riskier investments. Let's say that, right? So, if you don't have a lot of risk, but there are other things that you can do, right? You can invest in annuities. If you really want to be conservative, go to a financial advisor and look into some annuities, because with those annuities, what they'll do in the future when you get ready to come out of the workforce, they will provide for you a specified specific amount of income during your retirement, your latter years. So you can get into annuities, and there are different types of things that you can annuitize. You can annuitize some type of life insurance policy. You can annuitize some type of just straightforward annuity. There are different things that you can do. But by all means, I implore you, I encourage you, while you're saving your money, invest it into something. Think long term. Look, unless you're planning on hitting that pavement and that concrete you know what I'm saying? When you're 65 and 70 years old, unless you're still planning on working 40 hours a week, or unless you're planning on being on some type of government or state assistance program, Medicaid or something like that, unless you're just planning on dying broke or living on Section 8 or some type of assisted living facility or whatever the case may be, unless that's what your plan is, I'm trying to tell you, you better start now investing your money. And I've just thrown out some random. I'm not going to get into some specific investments. Invest in this stock, invest in that stock, invest in this stock. No, do your research, do your homework. I say it all the time. 3 things that we need to do. That's what I say. Educate yourself. Number 2, educate yourself. And number 3, educate yourself. Feel comfortable and get all the knowledge you can about the specific stocks that you want to invest in. And I know it's folks out here telling you on these pipe dreams about day trading and hitting it big in crypto. But here's what I was going to back up to and say. I done already said how I feel about crypto. Number 1, it's not insured. Not yet. It's not regulated either. Right? At least if you stuck your money in a bank, which I don't recommend doing that. Not with your money that you need to have for the future. You could do that with your emergency stuff, with your emergency funds, right? It's just sticking it in a 0.1% earning interest bearing savings account. But you can do that with your emergency fund, with your cash reserves, have that sitting in some type of, what they call it, I can't even think of the name of it right now. Y'all forgive me. But you can put it into something that's earning more than that, right, is what I'm ultimately saying. So I don't recommend you doing that either. But at least your money's, secured and insured up to $250,000. At least. So and the government is going to insure, just like they did in 2008 during the housing debacle, to make sure that if a bank is in trouble, they will force other banks to buy them out to make sure that they don't become insolvent. So, it's disheartening. It's disheartening because you know what? As I've gotten older, I see the handwriting on the wall for so many people. because they're not doing anything, or what they're doing is just literal insanity. It's like madness. It's like childish. Let me say it that way. It's what you would expect your 12-year-old to do with their birthday money. People are out here working hard, earning income, and as wise about doing something with their money as a fifth grader. And it makes no sense at all. Makes no sense at all. So I've given you some tips, some pointers. Again, where you could put your money. Do your research. Look, if it's important to you, it should be important enough to pick up your phone and instead of getting on Facebook, go to Google and research a few mutual funds. Is it important to you? Or maybe it's not. Sometimes I honestly feel like, and I shared this with my good friend and sister Deisha. Sometimes I honestly feel like, as I'm talking to people in my personal interaction, in my circle of friends and people that I know, whatever, family, whatever. Sometimes I feel like that I care more about their future than they do. Yes, sometimes I actually feel that way. That I feel like I care more about what's going to happen to them in 10 years than they do. And I think one of the struggles is, how can I put it? I think one of the struggles is, I think we tend to still think that our life is excluded from what's happening to other people. There's some kind of way that won't happen to me, or some kind of way that you could just go and flip a switch and turn life around. We do this with relationships. It's like we just feel like you just live however you want to live for the bulk of your life, and then just walk over and flip a switch, and everything is supposed to just turn into flower, roses, and wealth and prosperity. And it's absolutely insane to think that way and to live that way. Especially, and the other thing that gets me is when you keep hearing people bragging about, I ain't doing this, when it comes to relationships. Y'all can get mad at me. It's all good and cool. I got my own money. I got my own car. He need to come to the table with this. And what do you think that you would add, bring to the table? Or what do you think a person would be lucky to be with you? Well, I'm independent. I got my own money. I got my own car. I got my own place. I got my this and I got my. So, in other words, you're an adult. So, in other words, you're just taking care of yourself like adults do. But go sit down with a brother, with a man, and ask him, hey, so, what are you doing? Oh, I have a job. I work. I have a car, because the car takes me back and forth to work, takes me to church on the weekends or whatever else you do, recreational things. I have an apartment. I have a place where I live and stay, and I pay the rent or the mortgage on it. Should that really impress you? That's basic stuff that every adult should be doing. And I would think, ladies, if you meet a man and he don't have just the basic requirements, that's the basics. We all should be doing that. If you're grown and you're an adult, unless there are some type of physical things that prevent you from being able to care for yourself. So why are we bragging on stuff that's just normal to being an adult? Anywho, so I don't know how I slid over into this, but since I'm over there, I might as well just slide on to the finish line or slide on the home plate. He's rounding second He's on his way to third. He just passed third and he's about to go and slide into home plate. So, ladies, if you do meet a brother, right, and you truly want to win his affection or see if you are the person that matches his plans for his life and his goals and where the direction and path that he's headed in his life, can you talk about more than just leading right off with that kind of stuff? Because in my mind, I would think that that's what you should be doing if you're grown, unless you're still living with your parents some kind of way. And I hope not if you're 30 or 35. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see if there's any comments in the comment section. My cousin Fred said, keep going, cousin. You know, I just might do that because it makes absolutely no sense. Ladies, look at this. If a brother is not one of those people that is living in delusion nowadays and he is still scared of banks and he ain't putting his money into a mattress or putting his money in a shoebox, and he really got himself together financially and he's doing well in all of those things, you know, and he's paying a mortgage. I mean, I would think that if you're planning on getting married, that both of y'all ain't gonna keep separate houses, right? I would think that. So I don't particularly care how people decide to put their financial things together if they're going to marry and intertwine their lives and connect themselves together in that blessed union. But I will say this: if he's already paying the mortgage or he's already paying his rent, then what does it do to impress him to say, well, I pay my own mortgage, I got my own place? Well, are y'all planning on living in two different places when y'all get married? So check, that's irrelevant to the conversation. Oh my goodness. Well, I have a job. I hope so, because somebody got to pay for those student loans. I hope so. Because somebody's got to continue to pay, you know, your bills until we do walk down the aisle and, you know, and make this thing official. Right? I hope you're not getting economic outpatient care from your parents. Or I hope you're not one of them sisters that got a bunch of standby men that one guy's paying your rent, another guy's taking, you know, paying your groceries, another guy's paying your car note, and another guy's. Because I'm telling you right now, if that's how you're living, don't be surprised if you start struggling if you got to pay it all on your own now, because usually people that's doing that is living above their own means. So we just got to do better. And I'm just trying to let you know, if you watch the show that me and Deja just did on the 6-figure man, a guy that's in the upper middle class making $150,000 a year about, as the old folk will say, a year about, you know, in the vicinity, $130,000, $135,000, $147,500.15. Yeah, about. And he's got his own car too, just like you, and he got his own mortgage just like you, and he's probably anticipating, especially if he's well established, you guys are either going to come stay at his place, or you're going to he'll sell his place if that happens and y'all get your place together. I would venture to say that he will probably be like, I got the mortgage. You ain't got to worry about that. So it doesn't impress him that you can pay a mortgage, because when you get with him, chances are you ain't going to be paying that anyway. Anywho, I hope that you have got something valuable out of this conversation. Number one, if you're putting your money in a mattress or you're putting your money in a shoebox, that's insane. At least put your money in the bank. Do I recommend putting your money in the bank? Absolutely freaking not. I absolutely freaking don't. It might be a great place to have you some cash reserves or some emergency funds. But as far as just putting your money in the bank and trying to save it and think that you're going to be prepared for retirement or when you age out the workforce, that's just as insane as putting your money in a shoebox. You need to be investing your money. Investing it. And once, like I've said a few minutes ago in this video, and I'll reiterate it, I don't care what you're invested in. I don't care. I'm tired of arguing with people about, well, I just believe in gold and I don't believe in 401ks because I'm tired of having the conversation. I don't care what you put it in. Put it in monkeypox vaccines for all I care, but at least invest it. I got to go. If you've been watching on YouTube, would you at least, press the subscribe button, share this video, ring the notification bell. Same here if you're watching on Facebook, on the Working People's Podcast Facebook page or my personal page. Drop some comments below as you come through. And also share this video. Maybe you don't need it, like I say before. Maybe you all set and you all good. But you know some folk that are financially irresponsible. Do you want to be taken care of? You better talk to your kids. Unless you plan on taking care of some grown folk, you better talk to your siblings. I'm trying to help you. Unless you plan on providing some economic outpatient care in the future. Okay, maybe you good, but you better start talking to your friends and your family and your coworkers and your nieces, your nephews, your cousin names, your aunties, big mama, and your children. And tell them to get themselves financially together. Unless you plan on moving somebody into your basement or into your spare bedroom that right now is a beautiful office that you have. I'm trying to tell you, the handwriting's on the wall. So if you are watching on here and you all set and good, share this video with the folk that you know ain't. And maybe this will shake them up or something. Shake them up out of delusion or whatever, paranoia. If they're paranoid about banks and stuff like that, shake them up out of that. Shout out to the ship once again, Rodney Williams and Second Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, streaming to your Facebook page. Shout out to you. And I hope that everybody is getting something out of this, but I gots to go. Thanks for watching. I'm out.